The Marine from 2006 was John Cena's first film where he actually stars in it and has an actual speaking role. The very first film that John Cena did was actually Ready to Rumble back in 2000. He appears as an extra in the gymnasium scene. He's in the back doing some weight machines. But, nobody really knew who on earth John Cena was back then. His 2002 WWE debut even shows how obscure John Cena was. But in 2005, when he finally won one of the main event world titles, it was good. He became a main eventer. He wasn't the top star in 2005. He was just a top star in his brand. It was Batista that was the biggest star in the company in 2005. But by 2006, he was maintaining his spot on top of the wrestling world with some other people like Edge and Triple H and some of them others as some of his good rivals, some other good main eventers. And, when you're a professional wrestler, it really, essentially, you're an athletic actor. And a lot of what happens in the wrestling is extemporaneous. It's not like you memorize a gigantic sheet of what moves to do next and all that kind of stuff. No, the wrestlers talk to each other. The referee has one of those ear hearing pieces. He calls out spots, and that's how the game is done. So by 2006, it was John Cena's second year as one of the main eventers in the company, and all the professional wrestlers, when they start off acting, they have to do some really extreme thing. Usually it's an action film, and with John Cena doing The Marine in 2006, it was no different. So yeah, The Marine is him as the lead, and Robert Patrick from the Terminator films as the villain. There's a couple of other familiar faces here and there. They're kind of big, like the mid to early 2000, sorry. But they're who remembers some of these people nowadays, right? So the thing about The Marine that isn't very good is you could tell that John Cena was still kind of green as a regular actor, because when you wrestle, especially back in the 2000s and in the 90s, things weren't very script heavy. You could talk and be as extemporaneous without being too vulgar as you pretty much wanted. Nowadays, no, very script heavy. So yeah, because John Cena had to always have the camera really close to him, and there's all the equipment around him, and memorizing scripts almost word for word, you can tell he was kind of green with that stuff. And he's playing a totally different character, a Marine named John Triton. And instead of just playing his rapper soldier character in the on Raw. Well, yeah, you can see that John Cena was still relatively green at this. But also the storyline is extremely run-of-the-mill. Okay, let me tell you what the story is about. There's a gang of these criminals, and they kidnap a woman to use it as their hostage to make sure that any future job goes okay, because they want an actual hostage instead of one of their own just playing the part. Okay. Yep. And John Cena's wife is the one that they end up kidnapping, so John Cena must rescue her to save the day. How cliched is that? Be honest with me, right? A loved one gets kidnapped. That's so old news. But one of the other downsides about The Marine is that it's a PG-13 rated. I'll be honest, I don't mind if a film is rated PG-13. But if an extremely violent action film is not rated R, then there's like, you can do more with an R rating than you ever could with something that's PG-13 rated. And something as cliched as a kidnapping hostage sort of film, also, you need to go farther than before. You can't go very far if the thing is rated PG-13. They do try with some bits of comedy. They do try with some really fast-paced editing. They do try in some regards, but every time they would try for something, it to compensate for the lack of good acting and the lack of really extreme circumstances. Every time they tried to make up for that, it simply wasn't enough. If this movie was to have been R-rated, starred some different people and not John Cena, but I guess it was good because it was John Cena's. It was a good stepping stone for him because he has gotten better. If it had a different storyline to it, probably would have been a decent, passable sort of film. But I was 11 years old. I thought it was fine. Fast forward to several years later, it's not fine. I don't think anymore. Yeah, I feel like giving The Marine from 2006 2 stars out of 4.